Cloud. And as always, if you want to turn on your camera, feel free. If you do not, that's okay too. At some point though, I'm gonna have to see you and know what you look like. So welcome everybody. Anyone know how many more days we have until our trip? 46, yay! Very exciting. We're getting close. So we have 14 travelers. That I think is going to be our final number. So Leanne and I count in that group, and then there's 12 of you all. And I think almost everyone's here tonight. So a nice small group. I think that we might be comboed with another Girl Scout group that's going along as well, because typically it's about 40 or so, 45 people that go on these trips. And so we don't have that, but that's okay, because we're here to make new friends, right? We are going to talk about some safety things tonight. Just some general safety tips. I'm going to start sending you just a huge variety of emails with all sorts of information and things in them, so that you can better prepare for your trip. Okay. So anyone have any questions or comments or concerns before we get started tonight? No? Okay. So like I said, I have a ton of information safety wise. I have it all in like papers, but I'm going to send it out to you. And I do have a PowerPoint from EF Tours that she sent me. So maybe I'll share that, and then I'll send that one to you as well. Oh, let's see. Where is it? Not it. Thank you for being flexible about last week as well. I appreciate it very much. Oh, there it is. There she is. All right. Yeah, we are ready to see the world. We've been ready forever, right? If you have any questions or comments or anything, yes, we will definitely, Gianna, talk about that. Absolutely. So we are going to be talking just a little bit about some random things, flights and travel reminders, entry requirements, which are going to be pretty helpful. Some things of safety, but like I said, I'm going to email you all the things as well. And then on our tour, how we can get support if we need it. All right, so we're going to Italy and Greece, obviously. We're leaving on Thursday, July 7th. A reminder for flights, we have our flights, flight information in the next slides or so. We've already gotten it, which is fantastic. So we are not checking bags, right? We're all just gonna carry on. We're gonna carry on our luggage. It's gonna be amazing. No need to check any bags. It's just too much. So make sure you have a bag that is allowed. If you go onto the Delta website, you can check out international baggage restrictions, things like that. I think it's like 44 pounds. I want to say 44 pounds. And then there's like a 3-to-1-to-1 rule. So that, I know that Leanne had mentioned that as well. One piece of luggage, maximum 44 pounds. Yeah. So in the Delta website, any liquids have to be in your travel bag, your quart size travel bag, and then easily take outable. So don't like pack it down into your carry-on luggage. Make sure that it's something that you can take out and put in. And I'm going to send you a document about like what to do at the airport, because there are some of us who've never been on a plane before, right? So we'll talk about airport etiquette and all that stuff as we get closer. Seats will be assigned at check-in. I might be able to go in there and do it prior. I was, at least for Paris. So if you have a preference, like if you know you definitely want to have an aisle seat, or if you, a friend of mine can't sit near the back of, the back of the plane, because he gets really air sick. So he has to sit like towards the front, not near the engines. So if you have something like that you want to see if I can finagle your seat, let me know. I don't think you can go in there and do it. I think I have to do it as like the owner of the flight. So just let me know if you do have a flight or a seat preference, and I will try to accommodate that. In-flight meal requests. The meals, you typically get a choice of, chicken or beef or vegetarian or whatever. And they're not terrible. They're actually pretty good. So if you have something that, you have allergies, or you really do need like a gluten-free, vegan, kosher type meal, you may want to contact the airline directly at least 72 hours prior to departure. Otherwise, it's your general. I think I had like pasta and ice cream and I don't know, whatever. I don't even remember, but it was fine. It was edible. You also can pack snacks too, or get something from the airport when we're there too. All right, so just a quick reminder about our departure flights. We are departing Syracuse on July 7th at 11:40 a.m. They recommend that we get to the airport 3 hours prior to our flight for international flights. So we'll meet at the Delta check-in desk at the Syracuse airport at 8:30 in the morning. I think everyone here is coming with, almost everyone's coming with a parent. So we can figure out a way, if we want to park at like the Cicero office, which isn't terribly far from the airport, we can do that and then take the van and pile everything in the van and then leave the van at the airport, or if somebody from Cicero wants to come get it, whatever. But it would be better if it's just me paying for parking for a week and not you all paying for parking altogether. So I'm going to send out probably just kind of like a poll about folks that maybe want to do that before we go. We are arriving in Rome on July 8th at 7:30 in the morning, and that's local time. So you'll notice as we are taking this flight across the Atlantic, the flight attendants are going to, I know it's weird, right? Like 11:40 a.m. and then we arrive at 7:30 a.m. the next day. It seems like a long time, but remember there is a time change involved with this. So there's that. And the flight is about, I'm going to say 10 hours-ish, give or take. So really during this time, you're really gonna want to pretend like it's nighttime. So you're going to sleep. The airline people will put all the shades down and turn off all the lights after dinner. Like they're going to serve us dinner at 2 o'clock in the afternoon or whatever, and pretend like it's nighttime. We are going to sleep, and then when we get to Rome in the morning, we're not going to rest. So what's going to happen is we're all going to meet in the airport. We're going to find our local person that we're connecting with over in Rome. We will probably get tested, or do whatever it is that Italy requires of us. And I think that was in the document that I sent you as well. So if we need to get a test, we'll do that straight away. I remember when I was in Paris, we had to get a little COVID card thing from the pharmacy that was in the airport. So we'll do that. And then we will, excuse me, likely hop on a bus and take all of our stuff to a hotel, the hotel that we're staying at right then. And then there's no downtime. So we will go back into Rome. And day 2, I actually want to stop share here. I'm going to send this out to you in an email really quickly, but well, after this, not really quickly, like right now. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can find it. Where are you? I derailed myself. Hold on a second here. Oh, Italy and Greece itinerary. There it is. So let me share this itinerary real quickly with you. And like I said, I'm going to send this to you in email form. So this is a little bit of a more up-to-date and informative itinerary. So day 2, I was actually thinking that they made a mistake on this because it's like day 2 and then you arrive and then it's dinner time. So I emailed her and I was like, well, what are we supposed to do on day 2? Like, should it be day 3 or whatever? And she said, our tour consultant said that they typically don't plan things on that first day in Rome, because if there's an airline delay, if there's weather, if something happens, somebody misses the flight or whatever, they want to make sure that things are super flexible so that we don't miss anything. So that first time in Rome, probably when we go back into Rome, it'll kind of be like all right, have at it. go do something, find meals, find, touristy things, just do whatever you want to do. So that's kind of cool, but also a little bit terrifying as well. At least it was for us, I think, in Paris, when they kind of let us off the bus and they're like, okay, bye. You have to be here in this place for dinner at 6 o'clock, but otherwise have at it. So that's pretty cool. So just be thinking about that first day in Rome. If there's things that you want to do, that might be a great day to do it, actually, since we don't really have like technical plans. Transfer from the airport to the hotel. It says it's 2 hours. I'm not sure if that's real or not. I do know that in cities like this, buses are not allowed into the city proper. The streets are just too small. It's too old of a city for them to do that. So it's likely that it's similarly out of the city. So there's that. Vatican sightseeing is day 3. And Gianna, that's actually where the dress code will come into play. I was actually just reading, there's a chat in the EF Tours Facebook page that was talking about cathedrals and the Vatican and the Sistine Chapel and all of those things. So your shoulders have to be covered and your knees have to be covered. I don't think there's any men on this trip, in our group anyways, but so this would be a time where you're not showing a midriff, no half shirts, things like that, no tank tops, spaghetti straps, that sort of thing. Or if you do want to wear that, because it's probably going to be 95 degrees in Rome while we're there, just FYI, bring a scarf. So I plan on bringing like not a winter scarf, but like something I would wear probably inside in the wintertime, that you can drape over yourself like a shawl. And then when you come out of the Sistine Chapel and out of the Vatican and places like that, you can take that off and then you can just be a little bit cooler. So you might want to plan for a long skirt, a longer skirt of some kind during this time. No short shorts. Like I said, they won't let you in if your knees, like from your knees up, are visible skin wise. So just make sure that you plan on having some modest dress during this time. Gianna, does that sort of answer your question? Yeah. And like I said, it's hot. So another couple of things that you may consider packing, at least I will definitely be packing. Chris, what's that? What's that stuff that you put, the glide stuff? Body glide. So body glide, it looks like a deodorant stick, but it's like for chafing. So you can do that. I plan on bringing like boy shorts to wear underneath, skirts and that sort of thing. We are going to be walking probably between 7-8 miles a day on this tour. So that's a lot of walking. And as soon as you start getting blisters and chafing, it's really hard to come back from that. So just make sure that if you're prone to that sort of thing, that you plan accordingly in your outfits. Like I have a pair of jeans that I can't wear when I walk around a lot because for some reason, like the inseam, that middle part between the legs is like a little bit lower than it should be, I guess. And so it doesn't, like that part of it rubs against my leg and that's what gives me the chafing. So I don't recommend jeans. Jeans are not a recommended thing to pack on this. They're heavy. They're just not comfy. They're not great. So leggings, shorts, dresses, spring dresses if you want to. I also am going to, this is part of the safety thing. So pickpocketing is really, it's a thing. It's a real thing where we're going. So this is a money belt. I've showed this to you before, and I strongly encourage you, I can't require you, but really you should get one of these things. You wear it around your waist. It kind of sits up like here on yourself, and it fits money and it fits your passport, which are two things that pickpockets are looking for. Passports are a hot commodity, especially if they're American. So this thing, though, will be sweaty. I guarantee it. So the plan is to pack a bunch of camis or tank tops to wear, and then put the money belt over that and then put your clothing on top. I got this to be like sort of a nude color, so it wouldn't stand out under my clothing. So excuse me, I highly recommend one of these it's going to help you not get pickpocketed. And the worst thing that can happen is that you lose your passport, because then we have to go to the embassy and there's just a whole thing that has to get done. So that's like the one thing we want to try to avoid. Money can be replaced. You know, I'll have my debit card, my credit card, extra cash on me. That's fine. But your passport is the thing that you don't want to lose on this trip. Okay. So keep it in your money belt. And I got this on Amazon. I think it was like $17. So it's well worth it to get that ahead of time. Okay. So if you look at the itinerary again here, there's a lot of free time, it looks like. So free time for lunch, a little bit of free time in Rome. If you're during the catacomb excursion, this is the time that you would do that. I am not. So if you're not doing the catacomb excursion, you can hang out with me and think about what you want to do. I don't want to be the driver of the bus on this. So if you want to do something during that time, I'll do whatever you guys want. Just let me know. And then evening is dinner and return to the hotel that day. So the next day, day 4, sightseeing of Rome, Colosseum, etc. All of those things. This is the part that's very walky this day, day 4. Additionally, please keep in mind that the streets in Rome are not paved like they are here in New York or in the United States. There's not sidewalks. We're talking about like cobblestones and uneven walkways, stairs that are steep, not really graduated stairs or gradual stairs. So please, as I mentioned before, no flip-flops. I really don't want to see any flip-flops on this tour at all. If you want to bring some for like the hotel, that's fine. Nobody should be wearing flip-flops or sandals of like cute leathery kind of sandals. Closed-toed shoes would be preferable, but like I said, it's going to be hot. I plan on bringing a pair of like hiking sneakers and Chacos. I have Chacos sandals. I don't know if you've ever seen Chacos before, but they're like Tevas. They're strappy and they adjust, and I walk in them a lot, so I know that they're okay. So you're going to want to definitely bring some shoes like that. Day 4 appears to be the big walking day for us. In the afternoon, we'll depart Rome and go to Florence, check in at the hotel, and then go to dinner. The next day there, Florence sightseeing, another day of walking. So be prepared for that. Free time for lunch and exploration, and then another dinner there. So day 6, transfer to Ancona. That is quite the drive, and then we board the ferry. So I have talked to a couple of people about this ferry, and I don't know if you remember, like in the very beginning, me being like, "Yay, this night ferry." Allegedly, it's kind of sketchy, like pretty sketchy. So we're going to keep that in mind. We will be in like sleeping berths. I believe that lock. I'm hoping, fingers crossed. But it's kind of like the subway, apparently, in New York City, but at like 2 a.m. I think. So we're just going to need to make sure that we're prepared for, you know, it's not going to be like a dinner cruise. It's going to be like people traveling, and people are going to be just, I don't know what they're going to be. I guess we'll find out, but just keep that in mind. And that's also where money belt comes in handy as well. So we'll do that. I think there's food on the ferry, so we'll have food on the ferry and that sort of thing. We arrive in Iguamanitsa. Yeah, that's right. And then just sort of travel around, walk around, that sort of thing. You can see the itinerary on the page there, dinner at a local restaurant, etc. In the morning, heading to Delphi, Athens, and then that's the Greek dinner. And that's the final like big thing that we do. I think, you know, that Greek evening is kind of a cool thing. On day 9, local guide on the bus for guided major sites. So what will happen on this one is we'll stay on the bus, and the bus will drive around. They'll like sort of slow down and stop at points of interest. But during this one, I don't think there's going to be a lot of getting out of the bus and walking around. It's really going to be driving around and just like looking at things. And the guide will be on the bus with us. And as we're driving around, the guide will be telling us what we're seeing. Photo stop at 1896 Olympic Stadium, Necropolis Hill. Yeah, that's the part where probably they'll end there, and then we'll get out and walk around and stretch our legs and that sort of thing. I'm interested about this Greek neighborhood walking tour. That's going to be probably going to be pretty fun, with lunch as well, and then return home to dinner. And then that's it. We're flying home that next day. So, excuse me, that's our itinerary. So If you have any questions about this, once we get in touch with the tour guide, so the person that's going to be with us, we will find out who that is prior to this trip, and we'll be able to touch base with them and ask them any questions that we might have regarding the trip. You know, check this itinerary out, and if there are things on it or places that you want to be during free time, that sort of thing, let me know. Let's see a chat, medication. Yes, that should be fine. Question, can I bring multiple medications in a single bottle, bring prescribing information? Yes. So that actually is something that I'll be touching on in a few minutes here as well. And then the tipping, as I mentioned, is on me. So you don't have to worry about this tipping. I'll take care of that. For medications, I'm going to, if you've gone to camps, Girl Scout camps with us or done programs with us, we have a girl history and a adult health history form that you typically fill out. I think you do it every year that it has to be updated. I'm going to ask you for those. I'll ask you for a health form through EF that you'll fill out before we go. With regards to some medications, you should bring them, if you can, in their original prescription bottle. And if you can get it from your doctor, try to get a prescription for the generic version of whatever that is. So that if you have to quarantine and you don't have enough medication, if you lose it, if someone steals your day pack and your medication was in it, if you need it, like if it's allergy medicine or something that like you should take every day, but if you skip a couple of days, it's fine or whatever, that's whatever. But if it's something that you need, like heart medication or you know, anti-anxiety medication or whatever, make sure that you, if you can, bring a prescription for the generic version of that drug, bring it. Because if someone steals your bag and your medication was in there on day 2, you're going to be hurting to get medication. So err on the side of caution, and if you can get it from your doctor, bring it. The other thing is that I can see a bunch of folks wearing glasses. I think that was in the thing I sent before. If you have extra glasses, bring them. Maybe don't keep them in the same bag that you keep your first pair. And then if you have prescription glasses or prescription for contacts, if you get a copy of that and bring it with you, that way if they break or you lose them or someone steals them, you can get it while you're overseas and you won't be blind the whole time. So there's that. So I am going to have a whole bunch of forms that I'm going to send out to you. Like I said, the health history, that's a requirement. So I'll be sending that out to you shortly. Everyone does need to be COVID vaccinated, and I can see that boosters I think are being required for this as well. Let me bring up my PowerPoint here. I'm sorry.
Yes, the boosters, I did read, the boosters are required, but not the second booster.
Not the second booster?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. So if you haven't gotten the first booster and it's a thing, you should probably do that ASAP. Let me see. Okay. Oh, there's that. I will need copies, and I'm going to send this out into an email for you all. I'll need copies of your passport, color copies of your passport, probably at least 3 color copies of your passport. The updated health history required for both adults and for girls. So make sure you do that just in case. I think that I saw on the website that everyone has listed an emergency contact, which is great. So that's something that we can check it off. And then I will have a sort of a code of conduct sort of scenario as well that I'll have everyone read through and sign. And it's basically, you know, being respectful to folks around you, being respectful of the EF tour guide. It's going to have our alcohol and illegal drugs policy on there, that sort of thing. You know, no fighting, no stealing, no illegal behavior, all of that stuff that goes along with taking this trip here. So I'm going to send that all to you via email, and then you can just send it back to me. I have not seen in any of this paperwork that I've got right now, some countries in Europe require that you get a notarized piece of paper or whatever that allows me as your group leader to like care for you or to like have you travel with me to make sure that I'm not trafficking you. But I don't think that that's required from Italy. But if it is, I'll let you know ASAP because notaries can be hard to come by sometimes, I think. anyways, let's see. You'll need your actual COVID cards. So if you have COVID cards from where you got your original vaccines and then from your booster, it cannot be a copy. It has to be the actual COVID card that you're bringing with you. So if you lost it, I lost mine right before my trip to Paris, and I was freaking out because it was necessary. I couldn't figure out how to get a new one, but there is a way to do it. And I didn't get that far because I found it miraculously, but that's a thing. So if you don't have the originals, email me and I'll try to figure out how you get that. You will need a proof of COVID vaccine, PCR test 72 hours prior to this trip. And Leanne actually pointed out something really important. This is right before the 4th of July. So there might be some troubles getting your results in the time that we need to get the results back because of the 4th of July holiday. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to let you know if an antigen test is an approved test instead of the PCR one, like the one that you got from the government, if you did that. If you didn't do that, I'm going to highly recommend that you do get those tests from the US government and bring one with you. I'm going to bring some COVID tests with us just in case, especially if someone feels, starts to suddenly feel ill. I actually had COVID last week, which is why I had to postpone this, and it did not feel great. But I didn't have any symptoms the day before I tested positive for COVID. I was absolutely fine. I went out to lunch. I was doing my thing. And then the next day I felt like a truck hit me. That's how suddenly it came on. So I am going to bring some COVID tests with us just in case. Leanne also made a really good point about, I know before I was like, let's meet in person and do all the things. And then we were having a discussion like, what if we give each other COVID, right? Like Leanne's got a wedding to go to and I'm going to be hanging out with my family. It's like, the best thing that you can do prior to this trip, I think, is try to close your social circle as much as you can, at least for the 10 days prior to this trip, so that you're not exposing yourself to COVID and to people who might have it and that sort of thing. I have no idea where I got it from. I don't do anything. I don't go anywhere. I don't see people. I don't know where I got COVID from. It's a mystery, but someone had it and I came in contact with them, and that was the end of that. Sorry, that's my kids screaming in the background. So be careful out there because it's real. And even if you're being careful, you never know. So especially 10 days before this trip, make sure that you're extra cautious. Wear a mask if you can when you're going out and about, that sort of thing, just to make sure that we can all go on this trip and have a good time.
And don't forget, right now you can still look at your pharmacies for the free N95s.
Oh yeah. So the other thing is that, oh my gosh, why? Hold on. So the other thing is that N95s are required by Italy. So I don't know if you saw that part in there, that right now they're still requiring masking and it has to be N95. It cannot be a cloth mask. So if you can get your hands on them right now, do. Leanne, did you say they're giving them, the government will send them to you?
So it was a few, like 6 weeks ago, the government sent them to Walgreens and CVS, but I think a lot of people at that point weren't picking them up. So I would say call around. I will not be surprised if there's still free masks and they're all N95s that are available.
Yeah, great. Okay. Yes, so do that because you're going to need N95 masks and it's always better to have more than one. I would probably pack 10, one for each day, because if you're sweating and you're gross, which I will be, you will probably need to switch them out. All right. So I'm also going to look into getting them too. So I'll give you an update at our next meeting as to whether I can get them. Oh, you have a stockpile. 150 of them. That is quite the stockpile. Well, you'll need at least probably 25, 30 of them for yourself. So, but yes, and I'm going to look into the government thing now. Like I said, if you can get COVID tests and N95 masks, do it now. And I do recommend that everyone bring their own self-COVID test with them just in case. There you go. Perfect. Excellent. All right. Anything? Oh, okay. So a couple of other things kind of while we're talking along the health line here. So there are a couple of things that we need to keep in mind when we're traveling. I would like it if these are all things that we should have done in person, like that we should be doing in person, but we're just not going to get a chance to because of this whole COVID / we live all over the council kind of scenario. So what I would recommend, and I'll send this to you as well, is like a personal first aid kit kind of thing. So a Ziploc baggie with like Band-Aids and Neosporin, those little Neosporin things, Tums, Pepto-Bismol, that kind of thing, Pepsid. I feel like the older I get, even by the hour, I'm eating Pepsid and Tums like you wouldn't believe. We're going to be eating I'm hoping a lot of rich food while we're in Italy. And that might not be great on your stomach. So even if you've never had heartburn or acid reflux before, bring some anyways, you never know. Chapstick, safety pins are helpful as well. Feminine hygiene products. So maybe you are not going to need your feminine hygiene products because like, yay, luckily this like trip is not in the time when you're supposed to get your period. Okay, if one of us gets it, we're all getting it. So I'm just going to put that out there. It's pretty likely that you're going to get wacky and we're going to be with the same group of women for 10 days. And it happens. So bring something just in case, even if it's just a couple of things. I'll bring some extras as well because you never know. And when the ladies get together, sometimes things happen. So prepare for the unexpected is what I'll say about that. Medication, prescription medication, we already talked about. And if you can get a prescription with the generic name of whatever you take and bring it with you, that would be great as well. I do have an over-the-counter / medication, prescription medication form that I'll have you guys sign. If you've been to camp, it's pretty much all the same forms. Is everyone on this trip 18? No, Alice, okay, Allison's not, Jana's not, okay, good. Because if you are bringing like Tums, Pepto, Neosporin, that sort of thing, it's perfectly fine to handle that yourself and keep it on you. If you're bringing like other medications that could like, be a little bit more hardcore, we'll just have to talk about how we're keeping those and how they're being distributed and that sort of thing. So I'll send out to you a prescription medication form, even if it's like I give, Liz Schmidt permission to hold medication for Allison and give it to her every night at dinner or whatever. Something like that, I think is going to be helpful. And then of course, if you want to bring your own stuff, I'm okay with that as well. Especially, I know sometimes if I walk a lot at night, I Advil. I have like, I don't know, my knees hurt because I'm old now. So I'll take some Advil before bedtime. Sinus allergies, I know at least in my house, allergies are crazy right now. There's a lot of sniffling going on here. And I have no idea what it's going to be like in Rome and Greece. So if you have allergies and you have allergies, bring allergy medication. I'm going to recommend, like I said, some sort of like Body Glide. What's the powder, Chris? Gold Bond. He's a golfer, so he knows all the things, the anti-chafe things. So Gold Bond, the Body Glide. I like Desitin. If you are a mom here, which everyone you all are, Desitin is for diaper rash, but it's really good on blisters and chafing like overnight. So if you have something and you're like, oh my God, it hurts so bad, put a little Desitin on there, go to sleep, and the next morning it's actually like cured. I'm a really big fan of Desitin. So get a little tube of that and bring it with you if you want to. Sunscreen, 100%. I don't know how I'm gonna get sunscreen into the country on this trip. I've got to think it out because I will need it a lot. So we'll try to figure that out. Maybe we should check it back. I don't know. I got to think about this a little bit more. So make sure you're bringing sunscreen too. Leanne, go ahead. Did you have something?
I was going to say, maybe we should do that on the first day is just go get sunscreen.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea. Because I know that I'll definitely need it. And also like chapstick, if you're SPF chapstick, that sort of thing too, because I feel like we're going to be near the equator. Is Greece near the equator? No, it's not. It's nowhere near the later. I might want to look at a map before I go on this trip as well. But it's going to be hot there because it's like a hot, humid, sunny kind of place. So keep that in mind.
Well, and you know, Liz, if we're not going to pack, if we're not having a checked bag and we can only have 3 ounces of everything and it all has to be in 1 quart size, maybe we should, like if you needed, I don't know, contact lens solution or sunscreen, or if there's something you really have to get, maybe we should make that plan the first day just to go and find what people need since we are not bringing a checked bag.
Right. Well, the other thing too, I was thinking is maybe we should check a bag, just one, and like we'll make a big list or we'll collect stuff like, you know, that morning when we get to the airport, all the things that have to go in the check bag, we'll just chuck in there, you know, sunscreens, solution, tampons, all of the things that go in the check bag. Maybe we should do that.
I like that idea because that would be great because then we only have 1 checked bag. And then we wouldn't have to waste our time going to a pharmacy to find the bigger things we need. So maybe that's a great idea.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll look into that. And then we are going to be on a ferry. I'm not sure what the ferry is like. I think it's probably a large boat, I imagine. But if you are prone to seasickness or even like air sickness, you can, you know, talk to your doctor about that. Dramamine helps. I use little patches behind my ears for air sickness. So don't forget that stuff too. And sunglasses, also sunglasses. Does anyone have any questions about that kind of thing? Quick. Okay. Let me see here.
Alice had a question, Liz. She wanted to know if you need the colored copies of the passports at the airport, or are you going to ask us to send them to you?
I think I'm going to possibly have you mail them to me ahead of time or drop them off at your closest service center. Leanne is down in the Vestal area and I'm here up in Syracuse. So if we can get them ahead of time, I'll send out a list of things I need ahead of time because I'm going to leave a big packet of stuff here with someone who's going to be in the United States, and I'm going to take stuff with me. There's paperwork has to go all over to people to make sure that if something does happen on our trip that we're covered. So yes, mail or drop off it somewhere down in Vestal or up here in Syracuse. Or any near the camps. I'm over in Ithaca all the time, Tully, etc. Wherever you are, I'll be more than happy to get it. What was another? Allison, did you have another question?
No, that was it.
Okay, got it. Let's see. So let's talk about real quick jet lag. Has anyone gone on a trip like this before? Kind of. Has anyone ever had jet lag before? So I have kind of, but not really. So when I went to San Francisco once and I thought I was going to die. I had the worst jet lag and it was only like 3 hours. So I don't really know what was happening there. But I have heard that if you go west, from east to west, it's worse than if you go from west to east, right? So we're going in the right direction for jet lag, which is amazing. And then the other thing is, as I mentioned before, on this flight over, we're going to pretend like it's nighttime. We're going to ignore the fact that it's the middle of the day on July 7th. And we're going to just pretend like it's nighttime. So a couple of days before we go on this trip, you might want to just slightly adjust your schedule. Think about what time it would be in Rome and just sort of like try to go to bed an hour earlier at night if you can. For a few days, eat meals closer to the time that you'll be eating them at the destination, which is a little bit later, like closer to bedtime, which is weird as well. You might want to just sort of try to adjust yourself a little bit prior to this. The reason that we're not going to take a nap when we get there is because we're going to trick our bodies into thinking that it's fine, it's cool, everything is fine, and we're still in New York State and everything is cool. And this is how we're going to do it. So we're going to drink a lot of water, stay hydrated. I recommend, Chris, can you hand me that liquid IV stuff real quick? I'm going to get some to bring with us. You can get, it's on top of the fridge. You can get this at Costco. I'm going to bring a package of it with me. It's called Liquid IV. It's this like hydration multiplying kind of thing. This is citrus flavored, comes in all different kinds of flavors. But it's like if you drink one of these in your 16 ounce of water, it's like drinking 3 glasses of water. I can tell you that I was like, I'm a water drinker. I drink water all the time. I'm constantly drinking water. On the plane, I was constantly drinking water and I didn't go to the bathroom at all. I was really, really dehydrated on the plane. So if you want to get some of this stuff, I would recommend it highly. 1 a day is going to be great over the trip. If you are feeling like you're a little bit nervous about jet lag, like I said, try to set your watch to like the time that we're going to. So I think Rome is what, like 6 hours ahead of us, 7 hours ahead of us, somewhere in that range. And just try to ease yourself into that schedule prior to our trip. It will be hard, but it's okay. And then remind yourself, this is only 10 days and we're going on this awesome trip. So we can do it, okay? The other thing that I have just a little bit about is deep vein thrombosis. I don't know, I thought it was worth a mention, because if you haven't sat for a long time, like sitting on a plane, for my plane ride back from Paris to the US was 11 hours long. And it was insane. People were standing up, they were walking around the plane, stretching their legs, that sort of thing. So it's swelling in your legs. If you sit for a long period of time, especially if you're in a plane or on the bus, we're going to be on buses for a long period of time, sometimes on this trip as well. It can cause your legs to swell. You can have pain in your leg, warmth over your affected area, et cetera, et cetera. A good way to combat that, I guess, is compression stockings. So if you've never had those or worn them, that can help. So if you're prone to deep vein thrombosis or having, like, I call it the Jimmy legs, right? Like if you're sitting for a long time or, you just whatever, my legs get like restless, super restless and kind of like itchy. That's just something to keep in mind and keep yourself moving on the trip. And I don't know, I thought it was worth a mention. What else? What else do you want to, what else is on your brain thinking about all these things? And we only got to like slide 3 on this thing. Hold on. Oh, the way back. Okay, so the way back is a little bit harsh. And so I'm wondering, we are arriving in Syracuse on July 16th at 11:37 at night. So if you live far from Syracuse, for example, I know that, Leanne, like I said, is in the Vestal area and it's an hour and a half, hour and 20 or whatever back to your house, probably from the airport. It might be something where maybe Leanne doesn't want to drive. So, someone brings her to Syracuse, drops her off, and then takes a nap and drives up to Syracuse and gets you and drives you back home. It's late. This is late. So the other thing to keep in mind is the way back is typically longer than the way there, especially if we get a bad headwind. It can take a little bit longer. So just keep that in mind. There are hotels in the Syracuse area. If you're traveling a far distance and you want to book a hotel room for that night, that's a thing too. If you have any questions about coming back into Syracuse that late and need to stay over or whatever, we can chat about that offline and we can talk about some options so that you're not driving home at midnight, 4 hours from the Syracuse airport. So if you're going to get picked up, if someone's picking you up, you should probably be to the arrivals gate in Syracuse Airport by 11:30 p.m., just in case. We're not going to have to wait for checked bags. Everyone's carrying on luggage, so that's not going to be a thing. And then we'll go from there. And if it's delayed, obviously that's going to be a different thing. But I'm running currently on the notion that everything is going to be super cool, on time, no weather, nothing bad will happen, and it's going to be amazing. All right, so preparing for your tour, I sent that link to you. Hopefully you all sort of took a look at that before tonight's deal here. Vaccines are required. We already talked about that. The link that I sent you was specific to Italy and Greece. So make sure it's not this generic kind of thing. So make sure you check that out. You'll need to sign the Safe Traveler agreement that's on there. I did mine already, but it didn't stick because the next time I went in there, it was like, you need to sign this. And I was like, I already did. So just make sure that that's signed and checked off on your tour page there. If you're over 20 on this trip, you need to do a background check. All adults have to do a background check on this trip. I already did my stuff. It was easy. So if you haven't filled that out yet, please do that so they can get your background check done. And then this is just the pre-tour testing stuff. Negative COVID-19 test. It really depends on the place of entry. As we get closer, it'll tell us what that window is. I almost kind of wish it was 24 or 48 hours ahead of time because then we're past that July 4th situation. You'll have to have your original vaccine card and the negative COVID-19 test. I took pictures of everything and put it on my phone. So I had some, like restaurants, you had to show your vaccine card to get into the restaurants. And I would just show them my phone and they were fine with that. So I would recommend taking pictures of everything on your phone too. And then anything that changes between now and then, EF Tours will let us know a little bit prior to our trip here. So this is the Safe Traveler Agreement. So it's important. And if you see that little asterisk at the bottom, if you don't sign it, you're not going to be able to travel. So make sure you check those out and go into your account and sign them. There's that. COVID care promise. We talked about this a little bit. I probably should have mentioned this to you like 6 to 9 months ago, but ideally you would have someone who's staying stateside who has a valid passport. You know, grandma, aunt, uncle, dad, you know, sister, brother, whoever, just in case somebody, you know, you have to quarantine and stay in Greece. I will be staying with you, so yay. Me and you, best friends forever. But COVID-19 care promise says that they will fly someone over to hang out with you. So if you have to quarantine and you want your mom or your dad to be there with you during that time, EF will fly them back to Greece and stay with you, okay? So anyone have any questions about this COVID-19 care promise? It's pretty cool. I mean, I think it's a great thing that they do here, but no one's going to get COVID and it's going to be awesome. All right. Our tour director, like I said, we're going to actually get like their name and a picture of them and all that prior to our trip. I think 30 days in advance. So, oh my gosh, that's like 2 weeks from now. Oh my God. It's going to be so good. That will be coming shortly and I'll give you that information when we get there. They're also shortly going to be sending out hotel information. So I'll be able to give you the hotel that we're staying at each night that we're there so that your parents or your emergency contact or whoever has that information, so they'll know where you are. And then also I'll give it to you because if you get lost anywhere in these foreign countries, at least you'll know what hotel you're supposed to go back to at the end of the day. So there's that. Meals, we kind of talked about this already. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know what I'm going to eat. Everything probably. Oops, I'm going to go back. So breakfast is usually at the hotel. And then lunch is always on us. So make sure that you plan ahead of time for money for lunches. Lunch is always on your own. And then dinner time is usually a fixed meal, as I mentioned before. So you're looking at, you know, chicken and pasta and, you know, dessert or whatever, and you won't be able to choose it. You'll eat what they have served us. So some of you have already sent along any allergies to me. But if you still haven't sent me like food allergies and things like that, send those along. Or if you're a vegetarian, vegan, gluten-free, etc., if you could just email me and let me know, that would be great. Let's see. Hotels. Why? Sorry, my hair trigger PowerPoint here. We talked a little bit about this. Hotel rooms are smaller. I think there's 5 adults. Is that right? 5 adults, 3 of whom have requested a single room. 2 of whom have not, but that's okay. I think Amy, and I forget who else, Lisa, I think has got her own room. Vera, possibly. You'll be rooming together, but you're cool and easygoing people, so I think it'll be okay. I would bring some earplugs Girls, you're gonna figure it out when we get there. Depending on the room, sometimes we'll get to a hotel and there'll be 3 beds or 2 beds or like 4 beds, and we'll have to figure it out on the fly. So I'm not assigning girls to be together prior to the trip. Just know that you cannot stay with an adult. So girls room with girls, adults room with adults. And those adults are pre-assigned. But you all will be deciding when you get there. Wi-Fi might not always be available. There could be a fee, but who knows? We'll figure it out when we get there. You should bring an adapter and a charging cord for your phone, 100%. So make sure you have a European adapter. It looks weird. It has like a little prongy thing and like some other weird prongy things. And you can get them on Amazon. They're like $7. And then I would say probably bring 2 or 3 charging cords just in case. But you'll be able to purchase them as well while we're on tour. And then late check-ins may be necessary to hotels, but we're not going to worry about that. That's our tour director is going to worry about stuff like that. All of you, I think, have global travel protection plan. And so this is just in case things happen that are super like out of our control. You know, something happens in an airport somewhere else and we can't fly in, or you know, whatever. All of our bags get stolen out of our hand at the airport, you know, stuff like that. So that plan covers it. I think you all have it, which is great. And then it's secondary insurance when your primary policy does not provide adequate coverage while traveling abroad. I'm also planning on getting the Girl Scout additional insurance for this trip as well. So have that for whatever we need it for. But EF is pretty comprehensive, which is great. So like I said, pack light. I sent you the packing list before. If anyone has any questions about that, let me know. There won't be laundry there. So what is recommended is that you pack like a little laundry kit, which includes a string, you know, a clothesline, a couple of clips, clothespins, and you can get them on Amazon. Laundry detergent sheets. They look exactly like dryer sheets, but they're laundry detergent. And they pack nice and flat. If you bring a couple of those, if you want to do like sort of in the sink laundry while we're there, feel free. Most folks, from what I've heard, usually just wash underwear and, you know, fresh underwear, and that's it. So I think because it's going to be so warm while we're there, it'll be easy to pack a lot of things into your carry-on. And I would recommend packing a bathing suit as well. I don't have any idea if we're going to have access to water or swimming, but just in case, you never know, maybe one of our hotels has a pool, and bring a bathing suit just in case. So there's that. Any baggage fees? We're not checking bags. We'll check the one, but whatever. Medication, we're all going to get EF backpacks. They're like day packs. You can use it if you want to. If you don't want to, that's okay as well. But that can be your carry-on. I'm sorry, your like personal item or whatever. Make sure to have masks and hand sanitizer, obviously. And then that check bag thing is just there. Let's see. So a reminder for money on tour, ATMs are all over the place. You know, feel free to get yourself a debit card, ATM card that you can use. Make sure you alert your bank. Remember what I said, this is not the first time you should be using this ATM or debit card. Make sure you use it in the United States prior to going to Italy. It will not work overseas unless you've used it here in the United States first. So make sure it's working. Make sure you have a PIN number that you can remember. Make sure you use it. Notify your bank or credit company that you're going abroad and say, I'm going to Italy and Greece, just in case you see charges, because you don't want your credit card to get shut down while you're over there. I'm taking care of the tipping. So that'll be something that Leanne and I will manage. You are responsible though for COVID testing. So we all will get tested as we come back into the United States from Greece. And that could be anywhere from $30 to $60, or I'm sorry, not $30 to $60. It could be anywhere from $30 to like $100 in Greece. The one in Paris, I think, was $45. So you're going to want to make sure that you have money for that. So that actually, I think I have to collect that ahead of time. That might be in a future slide, so please hold on that one. And then for spending money, make sure you have an additional $30 to $60 a day, depending on your needs. I'm not really a person that buys a lot of stuff and takes it with me. So I'm not going to do a lot of souvenirs and stuff, but food is a different story. So make sure you've got some cash money so you can order it from your bank or the money exchange places that we talked about prior to our trip. And you might want to think about doing that now just to get it over with. Oh, there's the testing. Here's the testing. So you're responsible for the cost of all testing. I doubt that it's going to be $250. That seems extremely excessive to me. My guess is it's going to be somewhere in the $30 to $50 range. But they will send it to us prior to our trip. So I'll make sure to confirm before we go. Passport books are required for all travelers. So that's, I'm like, what's a book? But really it's just your passport. It's the blue passport that you get. That's what they mean by passport book. Allison, do you have a question before I move on to some of these things?
Yeah, you said that we were going to be responsible for our COVID testing. How many COVID tests?
Just the one.
Okay.
So before we go, remember, so if you have to pay for your COVID test, like in the United States before you go, which hopefully you don't because you have a testing site near your house, that would be you. And then in Greece, when we get tested, so usually what happens is EF Tours will arrange for someone to come to our hotel, and we will get tested at the hotel, our final hotel, before we leave. And that's when, so I think that's why I'll be collecting the COVID money prior, because like it's me giving this person like euros in the hotel room, and then they're going to do all the testing. So that's the one COVID test that you're responsible for. Make sure that your passports are valid for at least 6 months after tour. I think we talked about that as well. Everyone is a US citizen, so that's great. Color copy of your passport with you, leave one at home, and I'm gonna carry one as well. So that's where the 3 copies of all of these things come in. So you can email me a color copy of it. If not, I have other things for you to fill out, so just wait for me to send you this packet, and I'll send it out to you. And then if you have any questions or anything about this, you can always call the customer service. Yeah, we talked about all this stuff. This blah, 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 safety, safety, safety. Exposure, yeah, there you go. Closing social circles, social distance. If you come into contact with anyone who has tested positive or test positive yourself, within 10 days, you'll need to contact EF Traveler Support. So if you close your circle, hopefully that won't happen, but you never know, so be careful out there. In case you quarantine on tour, just start to think about what would happen if you need to quarantine for 5 to 10 days on tour. Medications, probably during the quarantine time, we would likely have access to laundry and that sort of thing, just because we're there. So any kind of medications, anything that you think you might need that's like dire for your health and safety, plan to bring that with you just in case, okay? Oh, my rules. Yeah, so I will have like some basic rules that I'm going to send out to you. A lot of them pretty much involve just being like commonsensical on this trip. No one is allowed to go by themselves anywhere at all, ever. You will always need to have at least 2, preferably 3 people in your group at all times. We're going to have a curfew at night because I don't want anyone getting all wild and crazy and stolen at night in Rome and in Greece and Athens and these places. So there will be a curfew at nighttime. Let's see, keep your hotel room locked, be respectful, no drugs, no alcohol. I know we're going to Italy and it's going to kill me to probably not have a glass of Chianti on this trip, but it's a Girl Scout trip and there's no alcohol on Girl Scout trips. So just please keep that in mind. I know, sad face, but it's okay because there's going to be all sorts of, I'm going to drown my sorrows in like gelato, I think, instead. So there'll be some good alternatives. And if you've turned 18, their drinking age in Italy is 18, but oh gosh, I'll send you home. Don't go out and get drunk on the streets of Rome by yourself. I will know and I will send you home, so don't do it. So those are the types of things that are going to be in this like code of conduct sheet that I'm going to send you along and just have you sign so that everyone knows it. I am planning on having sort of just a get together with the adults here, the adult chaperones, just to chat about some things and you know, talk about some some things that we have to do on tour and concerns and things like that. So look for that. Not in person, we'll just do a Zoom, we'll Zoom, and that sort of thing. The most important thing that I want you to keep in mind on this trip is that you need to be on time. What's that old saying? I said it before, like if you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late, right? So that's what's going to happen on this trip. If you are late, you're going to hold us up, and the tour guide's going to suffer, the bus driver is going to suffer. It's just not going to be a great thing. So make sure you have a watch, a wristwatch, an Apple Watch, a Fitbit. If you have a Fitbit like I do, bring a charger, the Fitbit charger with you, have your phone, set alarms. I tend to sleep a lot, probably not on this trip, but I enjoy my sleep. So it takes a little extra push in the morning to get up and out of my bed. So being on time is going to be extremely important on this trip. So make sure you have some sort of timepiece with you to make sure that you're on time, okay? As I mentioned, get a money belt. Please do yourself a favor, keep that passport safe. And then we'll talk about just sort of personal protective things, I think in our meeting that is closest to the trip here. Excuse me. Wearing your backpack on the front of you. Yes, you look like a dork, but you know, it's a lot harder for someone to steal your stuff if it's directly in front of your body, that kind of thing. So, all right, let's see. Shipping, you don't have to worry about that. Managing money, we already talked about this a little bit as well. Convert probably at least 50 to 60 bucks. If you're using your ATM card there though, it's going to come out in euros. So it'll be perfect. No traveler's checks. Remember that. Do not bring traveler's checks. We talked about that. We already have this slide. We did. We're just repeating. So before we go on this trip, I'm going to get a big box delivered to me, and it's going to have that backpack day pack thing in it. It's going to give you a wristband, just a blue, you know, Livestrong kind of wristband that you'll wear on tour at all times because it has emergency phone numbers in it. So if your bag gets stolen, at least you'll have the wristband with the phone number on it. And then calling cards. So you'll get this one from EF Tours, but also we're gonna do a good old fashioned phone tree, and we're gonna make a group chat. I'm gonna get everyone's phone numbers. If you're bringing, hopefully everyone's bringing a cell phone on this trip. We'll be texting and group chatting and all that sort of thing too. A lot of folks recommend WhatsApp, but I find that WhatsApp doesn't work unless you're on the Wi-Fi. And so if we're just out and about and someone gets separated, it'll be good just to have numbers to chat. Any questions about this? All right. Oh, save these numbers to your phone now. Yes, you can save these numbers to your phone now if you would like. Take a picture of the slide or whatever. This will be on your wristband as well. So you won't have to worry about it, but you certainly can if you would like to. Log on to your traveler accounts. Does it look like this for you all? I'm a group leader, so it doesn't look like this for me, which is annoying to me. So log on to your account. It'll tell you how many days are left. It'll tell you payments. Some of you, EF Tours owes you money, I noticed, which is interesting. Somebody's like got $43 that's owed to them. Leanne, I think they owe you like 70. So you'll be able to see if you owe or if you don't owe here. Over on the left side there, you can see in the pink circles, itinerary. I think that might be the newer itinerary that I just showed you this evening, to-do lists, and then of course payments. Your flight information will be there. So if you click on this part of your login page, you'll be able, the itinerary, there you go. Flights will be in there, but as soon as they release the hotels, that will be listed in there too. So you'll be able to find that kind of thing. If you're trying to find flights, it might be hard for you. It might be under my name. I'm not sure if you'll be able to actually like get into Delta and like look at the flights and that kind of thing, but and then here is where you're going to see all the things that you need to do in advance under the overview button. So it'll be your participation requirements, COVID-19 and stuff specific to this trip. And then there's other things there, contact tracing, pre-registration, health pass, et cetera, et cetera. So make sure you go in there and poke around a little bit. and make sure that these things are filled out. I can't see them, but I can see if you've completed them. So there's that. The things that you can do right now, Safe Traveler Agreement, health and medical details, hand in at the end of the meeting. Well,
Liz,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure, and Amy, maybe you know, I thought it told us the Safe Traveler Agreement is not going to show up into our account until June 7th.
Oh,
So I just didn't want anybody to panic if they go in there to complete it right now, because that's what I read, is it will not
sounds
show
right.
up for us until June 7th.
because I think they say 30 days prior to the trip, right?
Yes, so that would make sense. Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay, so if you don't see the Safe Traveler thing in there, don't panic. It's 30 days prior to your trip. So a couple of weeks and you'll see that in there. I do need, if you have a health history form from the Girl Scouts that you've filled out, that you have on file, that would be a great thing to have. There's an adult one and there is a girl one. Those are on, if you go onto our website, gsnypenn.org, up in the upper right-hand corner is a thing that says forms. And those forms are in there and you can download them. I will send you a separate one for the prescription medication and whatnot too, just for whatever. And then emergency contacts, but I think everyone's is in there. I saw that everyone had submitted emergency contacts, so that should be fine. What's this? Oh, there you go. Traveler health and medical profile. That one actually might be similar to the health, the Girl Scout form. So if you look at that and it seems pretty comprehensive, maybe I'll just go with that. Really, I care about allergies that require like life-saving measures, like an EpiPen and things like. Oh my God! If you have an EpiPen, make sure you bring your EpiPen. That's important. Make sure you bring your EpiPen. Even if you're like, oh, but I'm allergic to like the fresh pineapple and I can avoid that. You never know. Bring your EpiPen. So I'm concerned about life-threatening allergies or conditions that might require medical care on this trip. You know, I don't care if you had surgery in like 2002 on your left pinky toe. It doesn't matter to me. So important medical things. And if you look at that paper and it looks fine, then we'll just take that one. Emergency contacts, et cetera, et cetera. If you, like I said, if you know someone who's going to be stateside who has a valid passport, maybe put them like on alert while you're on this trip, in case you have to quarantine and you want someone to come over and hang out with you. Let's see, what's the chat? How many days will we know? Oh, Gianna, I think it's only like for when we're going to churches, honestly. So the Vatican City Day, definitely. And then like the Sistine Chapel, any place that if you look at it, you're like, that's probably a church, that would be the dress code scenario. But I think just generally be respectful. The other thing that I can say too is, you know, don't wear your finest diamond ring on this trip. You know, don't pack jewelry that if you lose it or it gets stolen, it's sentimental to you. You don't need to wear that kind of thing. You're not going to want to wear shoes that are cute, but you can't walk in, and you know, you don't want to stand out. So maybe don't pack that sequined dinner jacket that you love so much because it'll scream, I'm a tourist, take all my stuff. So we want to try to sort of blend in as much as we can here. Okay. So, and don't bring anything valuable or sentimental on this trip at all. Leave all that stuff behind. Let's see. There is a traveler app. I personally have not downloaded this myself, but I will be. So feel free to download this. Itinerary info will be available 3 weeks before we leave. So that'll just be helpful. I can look at like flight information a billion times and it won't stick in my brain. So, you know, if you're that kind of person, feel free to download this now and get it up and running. Tour number, your access code 560715. So that probably would be important to remember. I'll send this PowerPoint out to you as well, along with some of the other things that I talked about so that you can peruse them at your leisure. All right. And this is a to-do list on your own. So send me, I will need at some point copies of your health and medical forms, the form that's on the EF Tours or the girl or adult health form from Girl Scouts is fine. Color copies of passports, even if you just send me one, I'll make copies at the service center. And then your complete CDC vaccine card, just a copy. I don't want the whole thing. I just need a copy of it. Bring money. So make sure that you at least have cash monies for the COVID test. And I will probably collect that money when we arrive at the airport on July 7th. So have that in cash, euros, have that in euros. So when you order euros, build that in there. And I will collect that before we get on the plane because I'll need to give it to the person when we get there. Safety to-dos, we went through some of those. I have more. I have like a ton more of safety things, which we'll talk about again at the next meeting. I have like a straight up every minute of every day kind of scenario that I can go through if you would like as well. My cats are knocking things off. They're like, you've been on this call for a really long time. Pay attention to that. I have so many things. So I'll kind of send that along and then we'll chat about it next meeting as well. Passport details, just take a look at your passport, triple check, make sure everything is correct. You never know. Just make sure it's correct now and then make sure it matches up with your EF account, birthday, sex, middle name, last name, whatever is on there. It's all got to match. Just make sure it does. Adult travelers 20 years and older, background checks, and then make sure that you have any travel and entry documents. As I mentioned, I don't know if that's a notarization situation yet, but I'll let you know as soon as possible because I need you to have time to do that. So there's that. Is that my last slide? It is my last slide. Does anybody have any questions? That's a lot of information. I did record this, so I'll send it out and I'll just start sending things to you all. Yeah, it's, oh yeah. Okay, so Brooke is saying any proclaimed holy sites are under dress code. My grandmother just went recently, did a ton of research. Yeah. So I would say, like I said, bring a, I don't have one near me, a scarf like a, not a, like a long thin scarf, but like one that folds out into like a shawl that you can tie around your neck and it will cover your shoulders. And then you can just shove it into your day pack when you're done using it. So, but I would just keep in mind, dress modestly, knees, like I said, knees covered, no midriffs. Probably like Allison, I thought you had a tank top on, and Gianna, that would not do for, yeah, exactly, none of those. But I know it's going to be hot. So any way that you can layer, if you can layer stuff for the trip, that will be helpful as well. Because as soon as you get out of the Sistine Chapel, you can strip down to your tank top or whatever, that's fine. You just need to be aware of it when we're there. Any other questions? It's a long meeting tonight. Sorry, it's going over a little bit, but it's in 46 days. It's like amazing, right? Like we're doing this, we're going, and it's going to be fantastic. I'm excited. I know. I'm very excited. Let's see, what's the question here? How much cash do I recommend bringing? I would say at least maybe between 60 and 100 euro to start with. And then if you need money, if you have like an ATM card or a credit card or a cash card that you can take with you and use at ATMs while you're there in the country to replenish your cash supply, that would be fine. This is not like, we're talking about the Galapagos. We're going to the Galapagos in 2024. And there's no ATMs in the Galapagos because it's like lava and iguanas, right? So, but we're going to Rome and Florence and Athens. Like these are, cities where, it's affluent and there's people, no iguanas as far as I know. So that ATM should be fine if you need cash or credit card. I'm sure that you can walk into any restaurant and use a credit card, swipe it, Apple Pay, that sort of thing. So to start 60 to, $100 euro would be good, I think. Oh my God, I don't know if it will last. Purchase wine. I guess I could for a small fee. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, because we'll have to pack. Okay, so the other nice thing about checking a bag is that we can, you know what? I think wine is carry-on though. I don't know. I'll have to think about that. Yes. Well, I would absolutely do that for you. I might do it for myself. Actually, it's a really good idea. But we can check it. There's duty free at the airport as well that you can purchase. But if we want to check it into the check bag, I think that would be fine. But I think wine is technically a carry-on as well. There is one thing to remember, and that's the duty situation. So if you make a purchase over $400 US per family, you might have to declare it and pay tax, right? So if you've ever been to Canada and you come back across the border and they say, did you buy anything? Usually they don't care, but if you're buying like expensive bags, leathered goods and wine and all sorts of things, you cannot bring cheese, right? So like no cheeses. Well, you laugh, but like there's, so I think there's like people that bring unpasteurized, like smuggle unpasteurized cheeses in from places like this. No fresh fruits, no vegetables, no cheese, no plants of any kind, nothing that could theoretically bring in invasive species or make someone really sick. Unpasteurized cheese would be the thing. None of that stuff can come back. Unopened bottles of wine are fine though. Okay, anything else? I have so much. We didn't even get to half of it. We'll have another meeting and talk about it as well. So for the next meeting, if you have questions, concerns, if you're ruminating and reading all my emails I'm going to be sending you and coming up with more things, we can answer those questions next time. Does that sound okay? When is our next meeting? Well, let me check real quick here. Our next meeting is like, the 5th, is that right? Yeah, June 5th. Is everyone okay with June 5th? I know it's in like 2 weeks, but gosh, the trip is going to be here sooner than we think. So 2 weeks is good. Okay. So if you have any questions or comments or concerns or anything over the next 2 weeks that you can think of, bring those questions and stuff. We're still going to talk about safety. We're still going to go over like, I don't know, little languagey things, hotel safety, airport, what we should do at the airport, that kind of thing. Have you, the people that I can see, have you been on a plane before? Tiana, you haven't? I don't know, you're muted. When you were a baby, okay. Allison, have you been on a plane before?
I was like 2.
Got it, okay. And then I know Defender's on here. Have you been on a plane before? Usually like when you're little, you know, if you're, yeah, you bet. Okay, good. So it can be, airports can be stressful and daunting, but we're going to talk about it and make it as easy as we can so that we have a good experience there. I dislike them very much, but it is how we get to the places we want to be in. We'll talk about airport safety and security next time and what to expect on the plane. Oh, that's good. Okay, well, that can be helpful too, especially if you're anxious about flying. You know, being hyper aware of your surroundings and what's around you can be a good thing sometimes. So, okay. Any other questions, comments, concerns that you want to talk about tonight? It's 8:18, and we'll have plenty of time in our next meeting to chat about these types of things as well. Okay, so your immediate homework, I think, is to get the health paperwork under control. So go on to the GS&IPENN website if you can, even if it's like a copy of your closest physical. I think that EF says that you should have had a physical within 12 months or so of this trip. Sometimes that's cool, sometimes not, but for girls, adults, I don't think they care. But at least for girls, if you've had a physical within the last 12 months, even a copy of that would be fine. And then medications, prescriptions, all of that stuff, now is the time to get that in order. So that'll be your immediate homework for the next 2 weeks or so, okay? All right, I'm excited, getting even more excited every day. So have a good night. Thank you everyone for coming, and I will see you on June 5th, 7 p.m. All right, bye, see you soon.